Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of Pan the Organizer. So, jam-packed episode today because I'm having a professional grade ceramic coating applied to my own BMW. For that, I have a special guest that's here, and he's gonna bring us through the steps and all the motions, and of course give us a tutorial on how to properly apply that professional grade coating. So you're gonna find out, of course, which brand and which model I went for. Also, we're gonna debunk a lot of myths and talk about everything related to ceramic coatings. So lots of information and cool tips and tricks, of course, are to follow. We're gonna talk about the differences between a consumer grade ceramic coating and a professional grade coating as well. And well, of course, I also wanna thank you guys because this week I launched the Pan the Organizer merch. So t-shirts, sweatshirts, and hoodies as well, a bunch of different designs and colors. And you guys killed it, so thanks for your support. The link for the merch store is in the description under the video. Also, cool thing, I got a brand new DJI Osmo Pocket. So this is a handheld gimbal. So today's video was pretty much all shot with this. Pretty amazing, so I like to up the game on the channel, and this allows me to get some cool shots. So let me know what you guys think. And so yeah, jam-packed episode. You're gonna see all the steps of how to apply that professional grade coating. You're gonna see, of course, the end results. So a lot of cool things to come. Make sure you watch up to the end because there are a lot of tips and tricks, and we're gonna answer probably a lot of common questions in this video. So it's a longer length format. I hope you guys will enjoy this. So stay tuned. Without further ado, let's go ahead and start the show. All right, guys, so I'm with Ivan Lacroix, Vice President of Optimum Polymer Technologies. So we're here today because on my vehicle, as you guys know, there are two layers of a consumer-grade ceramic coating and a top coat as well. But today we're installing a professional-grade ceramic coating, namely Optimum Opti-Coat Pro Plus. And so, Ivan, to install that, obviously we're going to have to remove what's on there and do a proper paint prep, right? So what steps are involved to remove a ceramic coating?
So the first thing we're going to do is decontaminate. We're going to decontaminate first with pure power clean, following that with Ferrex. That's going to remove, it's going to scar, we'll put it that way, the coating that's there. And from there we're going to be able to polish the vehicle. The polish is going to remove what could be remaining of the consumer grade coating.
All right, so is there any way to verify if there's any coating left? Because right now it's been almost a year, 10 months that it's on the vehicle.
Water beating is one way of doing it, and with the polishing we guarantee that we're removing it.
All right.
And the prep for pro coating is always polishing.
So you have Power Clean right now in the foamer. What dilution are you using?
5:1, which is the preferred dilution for the IK foamer, and it's already pumped up, ready to go. While we're there, we'll clean the wheel.
So just so my viewers know as well, I did 3 pre-treatments prior to this video with Power Clean as well to help degrade the previous coating that's there, and also with Ferrex, as you've seen in the previous 10-month update ceramic coating video. So by the way, Ivan, on the label of Power Clean, I noticed it says not for glass.
Correct.
Is there a reason for that? Is there any damage if you actually accidentally hit your glass?
It leaves a residue on the glass that's hard to remove that you need to polish off. If you get it on the glass and rinse it off within 5-10 minutes, not a problem.
Okay.
As long as you don't let it dry on the glass.
Perfect. By the way, guys, as usual, don't worry. All the links to the products and tools used will be in the description under the video for you guys to check them out very easily.
So now in our bucket, we have Optimum No Rinse diluted at 256:1, standard dilution. Big red sponge is sitting there, but not quite yet. What we're going to be doing, or using, is the wheel and body brush. Now, wheel and body brush, yes, we're actually going to be using it on Pan's paint. Don't stress out, don't worry, it's perfectly safe. The brush is conceived to do that. Using O&R as a lubricant and the power clean that has been sitting on the paint for a few minutes now, we're going to agitate the power clean using this, and this will degrade the consumer grade coating that's there. And yes, here we go, a brush on his paint.
Heart attack, guys, heart attack.
Actually, I'll do nice straight lines, and we can check the paint afterward to see if there's straight lines on his paint. On the door, I'll do diagonals, and we can check for diagonal lines later on this paint. Now today is a cool day. As you can see, we're still wearing jackets. It's springtime in Quebec, so we can get away with doing this outside. And well, there was sun a minute ago.
So yeah, we're at roughly 5 to 6 degrees Celsius right now, which whatever that is in Fahrenheit. You guys do 40 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. So for those of you that live in a warmer climate, you'll want to maybe just do half the car at a time and then rinse it off. Next step, mechanical and chemical decontamination. So we're going to be using Ferrex to get rid of the iron particles and an ultra clay towel. So the two combined together, again, they're not going to scratch the paint, but they are going to get rid of the contamination on it. We don't need to use a lot of the Ferrex.
So you're combining both steps, chemical and mechanical decontamination at the same time?
Yeah, 2 steps in one. The Ferrex acts as a clay lube. It's not going to damage the clay surface at all of our towel. At the same time, it gives us the chemical decontamination and the mechanical at the same time.
So I don't know if you guys can hear, but you can kind of hear those contaminants being removed, the ones that were embedded in the clear coat. So what's your indicator of when you know to stop claying the panels itself?
Sound and feel. So you feel the contaminations through the towel, and you also hear them audibly as you're going over them. And since we're polishing the vehicle, yes, we do want to decontaminate, but you know, the polishing is going to take care of a lot of it. That said, we want to loosen it with the clay, and our first step of polishing takes it from there. Any marring that you may induce with the clay, which is very rare, but there is a chance of marring, you're going to take care of with the first step of polishing as well.
Yeah, because it is a mild form of abrasion when you're claying a vehicle, right? So you might be inducing some marring in the clear coat, so always keep that in mind, guys. That's why we usually follow clay stages by polishing stages. So for the people who want to know, is Ferrex pH neutral? How does it work exactly for iron decontamination?
Yes, so Ferrex is pH neutral. It does its decontamination through a chemical reaction. It's thiol based, which is a derivative of sulfur. If you ever had a perm in your life, it's basically perm solution. It's the same chemical base as perm solution.
And for those who want to geek out at a molecular level, does it dissolve the iron particles or make them looser or rounder? There's a lot of theories that iron particles have jagged edges and that these kinds of products make them rounder and hence easier to flush away. Is that correct?
It actually oxidizes it, so it breaks it down. It takes that iron particle and melts it, in a sense.
Okay.
So.
All right, so that reminds me, Ivan, when we spoke about Power Clean before, so it's a powerful cleaner degreaser, and I think you mentioned that the pH was 11.7, correct?
That is correct. But one thing to take in consideration when you're talking about degreasers or all-purpose cleaners, even though they may have a high pH level, it's not the pH that is the major consideration. It's the surfactants and the chemicals that are used. So you can have a product with a pH of, we'll say Power Clean 11.7, that's actually safe to use on leathers, in interiors and other delicate surfaces. Whereas you might have another degreaser that has a pH of 11 or even 10 that as soon as you touch it to the leather, it melts off the coating of the leather. So there's a lot of safety factors built into different chemicals. You can have a very powerful degreaser that has a pH like 11. You might have some degreasers that have a pH of 13 that don't have the same power as Power Clean. So the chemical process of building it is very different. So the next and final step in the prep is washing with O&R. The reason we're adding O&R to the surface is just as a drying lubricant. A lot of people think of using a drying aid. A drying aid should actually be termed a drying lubricant. With the O&R system, the drying lubricant is the O&R. So we don't need to add an extra drying aid or another product on top. The O&R is a powerful lubricant. And it's as easy as taking your big red sponge and you're applying the product to the surface. So there's no scrubbing, there's no rubbing. Now we know that this vehicle is perfectly clean because we've gone over with Power Clean, we've gone over with Ferrex, we've scrubbed it with a clay towel. So all we're doing at this point is just simply applying O&R. We could use a spray bottle with O&R just to put some on the surface, but the sponge is just as fast and just as easy.
So Ivan, now is the time to show me or to prove to my audience that there are no scratches in the paintwork because you used the brush before.
Exactly.
So let's go ahead and do the inspection.
So we use the brush, and there are no diagonal marks on this paint at all from the brush, and there's no back and forth marks from the clay either. So there's no marring, there's no damage to the surface in any way, shape, or form.
And as you can see now, guys, and Ivan can be a witness to that, you can see that there are no real deep scratches or marring in my paint. So can you say that I actually took good care of it? Does Pan the organizer know what he's doing?
Yes, very well. We're still going to polish your paint.
Of course.
Two main reasons for that. First is to make sure that we have ultimately very clean paint with nothing on it. Secondly, we can make this paint look better. So the first step we're going to be doing in polishing is a test spot. We always start with a test spot. Now I'm going to be doing the test spot on the hood. In Quebec, that's always the worst part of the car because people use snow brushes, all sorts of things. Now Pan hasn't used a snow brush on his. I can tell there's no scratches on it, but nonetheless, we're going to start with the hood. The other aspect of doing a test spot, I see a lot of people using tape lines when they do a test spot. And then they have problems getting rid of those tape lines when they're trying to blend out the rest of the area. So I do a test spot, but I don't use a hard tape line. I'll just do a spot, delimit it visually, and then we can check, is that the result that we want? Yes or no. If it is, perfect. We do the rest of the vehicle that way. If not, we can adjust the pad up or down. I'm starting with a fine cut, which is hyper polish, because again, there's no real correction needed. We're just needing to clean the paint, and a medium cutting pad. as proof of concept, we go over it 3 times. So 1 up and down, 1 left to right, 1 up and down. From there, we're going to wipe it off with an ONR dampened towel. We never want to use a dry towel. We want to use something with lubrication. So we'll be lubricating the surface with the ONR and then drying it with a dry towel. And we're not going to be able to pick this up on camera, unfortunately, but we have a slightly increase in gloss levels, which is what we want. The orange peel on the BMW is minimal to begin with, so we're not concerned about getting rid of orange peel. And in reality, we do not want to remove orange peel from a vehicle, unless it's a show car that's going to be trailered everywhere. But in real life, you want a bit of orange peel on your vehicle. It helps to camouflage little things on the vehicle. So we're doing well with what we need. We don't need to do any more than this.
So Ivan, I noticed that we didn't tape off the trim and moldings. Is there a reason why?
Yes. With the Hyper Paint Correction system, there are no hydrocarbon solvents in the polish or in the compound. So there's no need to tape the trim, be it a polished trim like this or even a flat plastic trim. There's no need to. We're actually going to purposely polish the trim to clean it. A lot of compounds, a lot of polishes have hydrocarbon solvents. They're what leave that white residue on the trims. We don't want to leave a white residue on the trim. We want to polish it. We want to clean it. And that's what we're doing with the Hyper Polish.
So another advantage of the Hyper Polish. Hyper Compound, I guess, is the same thing too?
Exactly. Now the Hyper Compound, we're going to avoid the trim. We don't necessarily need to tape it, but we're not going to sit there and polish on it either. For the simple fact that it is very abrasive, so you can actually damage the trim. But with Hyper Polish, it's safe. We actually purposely go over all the trim on the vehicle to clean it, to make sure that we're prepped for the coating.
All right, Ivan, so we're done with the paint polishing steps, so what now?
Next step is paint prep. We've removed the polishing residue from the paint, and in the Optimum system, everything works together. So there's 2 ways of doing it. You can actually wipe off the polished residue with an ONR dampened towel and dry it, and then apply paint prep later, like we're doing, because we actually went for lunch, so we knew there'd be a little dust settling on the vehicle from the air. But if you're polishing and then applying immediately afterwards, you can wipe off the polish residue with ONR, and then from there use the paint prep as a drying aid. So it simplifies your life, cutting the step. But in this case, we've already done it to the vehicle, so we just apply paint prep. We want to make sure it gets everywhere on the surface. We'll let it sit for a couple seconds.
So you were saying that this is more than just a regular isopropyl alcohol mix, right? Because a lot of people like to mix their own stuff at home. What's the difference with this paint prep?
Right. It's actually designed to work with the coating. It's designed to work with the polish as well. Now, our polishes don't have any hydrocarbon solvents, So we don't have to worry about removing fillers and solvents. We're trying to make the surface as, excuse me, as clean as possible. In doing so, the paint prep is going to be removing any greases, oils, and maybe leftover waxes that could be there. In this case, we don't have any leftover waxes. We polished it, we know that. It also makes the coating application a lot easier. It provides actually a little bit of lubrication. So when we're applying the coating, the applicator pad glides over the surface a lot easier.
Awesome.
And it makes drying it very easy. And now we have a great surface to work from.
So preparation is always key regardless of which ceramic coating you're applying. You always want to have a well-prepped surface, right?
Exactly. And depending on what coating brand you're working with, if they supply a prep solvent or a prep product, use their prep solvent. We're obviously working with Optimum, so use the Optimum paint prep. If you're working with another brand, if they provide you with a system, follow that system. They're engineered to work together. They're designed to work together. So use, the work that they've put in to design the system, use it to your advantage.
All right, so Ivan, now we're getting ready to apply Opti-Coat Pro Plus, which is in 2 steps. So this is a professional grade coating for my vehicle, but you guys also have, from what I see here, the Optimum Gloss Coat, which is a consumer grade coating. So for my viewers, can you explain to us what's the difference between a consumer grade coating and a professional grade coating?
The big difference is ease of use. So the consumer grade coating is a lot easier to apply. There's less chances for error. So with the Opti-Coat Pro and Pro Plus, there's a bit of a chance for error. There's need for training. There's need for following certain protocols in applying. The gloss coat is a lot more forgiving. In terms of durability, gloss coat is a hybrid coating, so it's SiC or silicon carbide hybrid SiO2, whereas the Opti-Coat Pro and Pro Plus are pure silicon carbide coatings.
So you're saying there's no silicon dioxide, no SiO2 in those coatings? Because I know it's all the craze lately.
Yeah, there's no SiO2. They are true ceramic. Ceramic simply means inorganic. So beach sand is a SiO2. So there's a lot of things in this world that are SiO2. There's a lot of products that are ceramic. Your floor here is ceramic. Your glass in your car is ceramic. Ceramic is a buzzword in the industry at the moment, but the Opti-Coat Pro Plus, it's a silicon carbide, and it's a matrix of silicon carbide that is formed within the paint of the vehicle, as opposed to an SiO2 long-term nano-ceramic sealant that has nanoparticles of SiO2 suspended in a resin. That is why most of the SiO2 coatings on the market require a yearly or every 2 years, or depending on the company, reapplication of some form of rejuvenation product. With Opti-Coat, we do not have a rejuvenation product. It doesn't exist on our line because it's not necessary. The warranty for Opti-Coat Pro Plus is 7 years, but just like the warranty on your car. BMW, I believe it's 80,000 kilometers or 4 years. It won't die at the side of the road once it reaches 80,000 kilometers or 4 years. Same thing with the coating. Just because it's reached the 7-year limit of the warranty doesn't mean the coating's not there anymore. The coating is going to be there for the life of the paint if you maintain it properly. And proper maintenance is washing it, and once a year or every 2 years, depending on how the vehicle is kept, you'll need to decontaminate it. And it can be decontaminated chemically, so with power clean, with mineral deposit remover, and with Ferrex, or you can actually decontaminate this mechanically with a clay towel and Optimum car wax as your clay lube.
So that's a difference with traditional ceramic coatings or consumer grade coatings, right, where normally they tell you to not use a clay bar or clay towel. You're saying that with Optimum Opti-Coat Pro Plus, you can go ahead and actually use those clay stages.
Yes, well, you can use, I'll say, our clay towel, simply because we designed it to work and to not abrade the surface. If you notice in the prep stages we did with your BMW, we used a clay towel with Ferrex, and there was no marring whatsoever on your paint. And that is the case with using car wax as a lube or using Ferrex as a lube. You're not going to get marring using the ultra clay towel.
And the chemist, or also the owner of the company, Dr. David Gadusi,
Yes.
can you give a bit about his background in the automotive industry, more specifically to clear coats? Because he formulated those knowing very well. I think he was one of the engineers behind modern clear coat. Is that correct?
Right. So he's a doctor of organic chemistry, and he used to work for paint manufacturers developing clear coats. And he still does consulting with them today, consulting them on clear coat formulations. So he knows clear coat intimately. And all the products that we have play well or play with clear coat and are designed to actually protect and work with clear coat. And Opti-Coat Pro is no exception. Opti-Coat Pro doesn't sit on top of the paint. Unlike coatings that some of them require multiple layers, we only have one layer because it's not going on the paint, it's actually going into the paint. So it's going in it and it's staying there. The only way to remove Opti-Coat is mechanically. Chemicals will not remove it. So you need mechanical abrasion to remove it, and you need to remove 2 or 3 microns of the paint in order to get the Opti-Coat Pro off. So sanding or heavy compounding is the only way to get it off the surface.
And which pH levels, like from which low level to high level pH, does this chemically resist?
0 to 14.
So the whole pH scale, essentially.
Yeah, the whole pH scale. Solvents won't attack it. Acids won't attack it, nor will high pH APCs, things like that.
Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead with the application.
Yes.
So Ivan, it's a 2-step process for Opti-Coat Pro Plus.
2 steps. The first step we're going to do is apply Opti-Coat Pro to the whole surface of the vehicle, and then Opti-Coat Pro Plus. Now, Opti-Coat Pro Plus does not go on Opti-Coat Pro, it goes into Opti-Coat Pro. So it's a chemical reaction that we're doing with Opti-Coat Pro Plus that modifies the surface of the Opti-Coat Pro. So we have a very narrow time limit, so half hour to 45 minutes. So we apply the Pro. Once the Pro is applied, from the start of applying Pro, we set a timer, and we go half hour to 45 minutes. At the 45-minute mark, if we're not done coating the whole vehicle with Pro, which we will be, not a problem, doesn't take that long, at that point we will apply Pro Plus.
And what is the difference for the people who want to go ahead and apply either Opti-Coat Pro or the Opti-Coat Pro Plus? What does the Pro Plus give you more?
Pro Plus gives you more gloss, more hydrophobics, and a little more resistance to marring and scratching.
Okay, so how do you apply it?
Well, we first put it on our applicator.
So even for you pros out there who watch my videos, this might be a refresher. If you're an Opti-Coat installer, this is coming from the vice president himself.
Yeah.
So this is a good refresher class.
And if you install another brand of coating, you'll see just how easy Opti-Coat is. But some of the differences between Opti-Coat and other brands, you'll notice I'm not wearing a mask. There's nothing to evaporate. Opti-Coat is cross-linking into the clear coat. We apply it in a circular motion, making sure that we cover the whole surface. And there's no need to go back over where we've been. So we select the body line to act as a break in this case. Make sure our edges are covered. And then we'll wait. Now the lighting in here is actually very good, but not necessarily for a coating. The surface will look like an oil slick on water, and in the back end of the car it's a little darker, so we'll be able to see it better there when we get to that point. But it's like an oil slick on water, and eventually it goes back to clear as the product cross-links into the clear coat. When 80% of it is back to clear, we take a Pearl Weave microfiber towel, and the Pearl Weave is something we've been using for years, and it's included in every Opti-Coat Pro kit. We want to make sure that the installer, it comes with the applicator, it comes with the towel, it comes with the polish. So we guarantee that they have the right tools to do the job. So at this point, roughly about 80% of it is cleared off. And we're not removing any residue, we're actually leveling or spreading out any high spots that may have been left from the application.
So yeah, this is a common misconception. You often hear people saying buffing the coating off, but you're leveling the coating. Make sure you're not getting any high spots, right?
Right. And in the case of Opti-Coat Pro, we only provide one towel because the towel never gets wet.
Do you have to discard the towels after use?
No. Put them in your O&R bucket. Same thing with the applicator. Cleans them and then wash them just like any other towel.
Good to know.
Yeah. One little demonstration. Here we don't have the coating. Here we do. Opti-Coat Pro for the first hour or so is extremely rubbery feeling. So our towel here, and as soon as we hit the coating, it grabs.
So Ivan, quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is this a multi-layered product? Like, can you apply 6, 7, 10 layers? Is there a benefit? Is there such a thing as layering?
No, there's no benefit whatsoever in layering. When we're applying Opti-Coat Pro, it's not going on the paint, it's going in the clear coat. So once it's in the clear coat, you can't put any more in the clear coat. So one layer, one and done. There's no need to put more. The companies that offer layering, that's their choice. They can do it. There are some very minute benefits to layering SiO2 coatings, but in reality, again, it's more perception than reality.
So while you're applying this to the wheels, Ivan,
Yes.
I was kind of thinking, what's the difference between the classic ceramic coating, so infused with either SiO2 particles or TiO2 particles, and you were saying that Opti-Coat Pro Plus doesn't have such resins or molecules in there. So what are the major differences between those traditional coatings and this one?
The big difference is, if I can explain it with a bowl of Jello. So if you take a bowl of Jello, and you put hard candies in the bowl of Jello. Those hard candies represent the ceramic particles, be it SiO2, TiO2, SiC, whatever you want. And the Jello represents the resin or the carrier that holds the SiO2 or the ceramic. So with that bowl of Jello, you mix it up, you put it in the fridge, and you leave it there. 6 months later, if you don't have kids, there's a chance it's still there. You pull that bowl out of the fridge, and you'll notice a couple things. First of all, the ceramic particles or the hard candies are all still there. Next, what has happened though is that the resin or the Jello has receded, it's dried, it's cracked. So the traditional or the standard SiO2 style of coating requires some form of rejuvenation on a regular basis.
So hence the top coats or the silica spray sealants that you'll reapply every 2 to 3 months, right, as they recommend?
Exactly. Well, 2 or 3 months, or some go up to a year, but they need some form of rejuvenation. And that rejuvenation, if we go back to our bowl of Jello, is basically mixing up a batch of Jello, pouring it on top. So you're renewing the resin. The silica or the SiO2 isn't really needed. It stays there. But to get that nice level surface again, you need to mix up a batch of Jello. On the other hand, with Opti-Coat Pro, there is no nanoparticles of ceramic in the syringe. What is in it is pure silicon carbide that forms with a chemical reaction. So when we put it on the fender, or in this case a wheel, because it's substrate based. So having a wheel coating to me is like having a left front fender coating. It's a part of the car. It is not a substrate. So it's attaching itself to the substrate, not the part of the car. But take our bowl of Jello, but we don't put any hard candies in it. That bowl of Jello, now we put it in the freezer. As we put it in the freezer, we have ice crystals that start to form. And as those ice crystals start to form, they cross-link, and it eventually becomes one solid block of ice. Now, 6 months later or a year later, we pull our bowl of Jello out of the freezer. We'll have a bit of frost on it, so contamination. We need to decontaminate it. But we decontaminate it, we have a nice level surface, just like the first day we put it in the freezer. We can put it back there, we can take it out 2 years later, 3 years later. Again, decontaminate it, we still have our solid bowl of Jello.
So what you're also saying, if I'm understanding this right, is that with Opti-Coat Pro or Opti-Coat Pro Plus, I don't have any silica spray sealants to apply. I don't have to maintain the coating with any special spray. So nothing that I have to top off with, right?
There's no topper. We don't make a topper. It's not necessary. The only thing is proper maintenance. We suggest an O&R wash. And from there, when needed, and it could be in 6 months, it could be in a year, it could be in 5 years. Depends on how you maintain your vehicle and how often you drive it, etc., etc.
The conditions where you live in.
Yeah. You'll need to decontaminate it. So you can do a chemical decontamination with mineral deposit remover, Ferrex, and Power Clean. Or you can do a mechanical decontamination using Optimum car wax as lubrication and a clay towel.
And that's it.
That's it.
I love simplicity. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are getting all this because these are important myths to debunk. So not all systems work the same. And well, Ivan is explaining to us all the advantages that this system has. So it's pretty awesome. And would the same apply to the consumer grade gloss coat in this case?
Gloss coat has an SiO2 component to it.
Okay.
And the reason we call it gloss coat, SiO2 gives you an immediate gloss. Opti-Coat Pro takes about 30 days to reach its ultimate gloss. So it takes a long time to cross-link or to form those ice crystals in the bowl of Jello. But after 30 days, it's glossier than anything else on the road. But it takes a little while to get there. Whereas the SiO2-based coatings get their gloss immediately. So gloss coat for the consumer, it's easier to apply, and you get that immediate rush of gloss. So, but that SiO2 component makes it a little more fragile. So it's going to last 2 to 3 years on average. So now we're ready for the Opti-Coat Pro Plus. The Opti-Coat Pro has been applied to the whole car. Now we do the Pro Plus. There's a window of opportunity to apply the Pro Plus. It's not layering, it's actually being applied into the Opti-Coat Pro. So we apply it to our applicator. And what's really interesting and mind-boggling about the Pro Plus is we actually do not see it going on the surface. If you see it, you're putting too much on. So you apply it. So this is where being methodical in your application method becomes very important. And at the same time, if you miss a spot, you'll definitely feel it.
Yeah, you're right. I can't see anything.
And we level it, making sure we didn't miss anywhere. And now the plus is applied to this section. And if we take our microfiber towel, remember the one that was rolling over here?
Yep.
Well, now it's extremely easy going here. And as soon as we go over to the Pro, it rolls over there. So we know it's been applied here, and as I said, when we go over to the Pro, it doesn't want to move anymore. So that's how we know it's been applied, because we can't see it, but we can definitely feel it.
All right, Ivan. So the Opti-Coat Pro Plus was fully applied, and we can tell it is awesome. I'm going to do some final shots later on, but already look at this gloss, guys. It is absolutely insane. This is a mirror finish, and it's going to get even better in the next month. So stay tuned for follow-up videos. But what's the final step now, and why, Ivan?
The final step is Opti-Seal. Now, if you're going to leave the car in the garage overnight, you don't really need Opti-Seal, but Opti-Seal is a safeguard. It is there to protect the vehicle against the customer, actually. So normally it's a Pro installation, and in that installation, the Pro will ask the customer not to wash the car for a week. It's hard to resist washing the car for a week, so we put Opti-Seal on it. It will protect the car against that. Opti-Coat has 3 curing stages. First, dry to the touch as we applied it. Secondly, 7 days to become chemical resistant. So resistant against washing chemicals, soaps, things like that. In 30 days, it will achieve its final hardness and gloss. So by putting the Opti-Seal on it, it protects it for those first 7 days. At the end of that, the Opti-Seal has been shed by the Opti-Coat Pro or Pro Plus.
So Opti-Seal is a paint sealant?
Yes.
There's no SiO2 particles, so it has nothing to do with silicon or silica dioxide components.
No, and very easy to apply. It's literally wipe on and walk away. So we put it on in a circular motion. Goes on with ease.
So I see that you applied very little product, like 1 spray?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, this is a 236 ml or 8 ounce bottle. It's good for roughly about 40 to 50 cars.
Wow.
Less is more.
So you're not buffing or leveling it off with a microfiber towel, or?
We can if we want to.
Okay.
It's not, if you apply it properly, you don't need to. I don't apply it often enough, so I'll need to. But you'll notice that most of it has, and this does have a solvent in it, so it is evaporating. So most of it has evaporated away, but we have the odd little high spot like here. So just a quick pass with the towel, and that high spot is gone.
And then after the 5 to 7 days, then you can wash your car as per usual?
Exactly. Ideally, washing will be with Optimum No Rinse, or Opti-Coat No Rinse actually, and the big red sponge or the big gold sponge. That is the safest wash method you could ever do to a vehicle.
Awesome. Ivan, now my viewers are going to see the final shots that I will film when I'm going to give it a bit of time there, but already we can tell that every single surface that Opti-Coat Pro Plus has been applied to is awesome. Also, guys, if you're watching this video, there's a new product for the tires, a semi-permanent coating. What is it called, Ivan?
Tire protection and coating.
And you're going to see a video about this on my channel. This is pretty awesome. Let's have a preview here. So we're going to tell you all about it. Of course, you're going to see the ease of application available to consumers. All right, so Ivan, we just finished the application of Opti-Coat Pro Plus. So I think you want to show my viewers the beading properties and also the sheeting properties of the product.
Exactly. So we're using pure tap water.
Okay.
Nothing special. So a very fine mist, and we can see the very nice, small, tight beads. And as we continue to add water to the surface, the beads get larger, and they eventually get heavy enough that they fall off the vehicle. Now, we can dry a car with water as well. We don't need a big hose or anything, just what's coming out of this bottle.
So this would be the sheeting properties. Look at that, not a single drop of water. This is bone dry. So as you guys were able to see, the results speak for themselves. Hydrophobic properties are absolutely amazing. The gloss levels, the slickness, everything's there. Chemical resistance, pH 0 all the way up to pH 14. Who else does this? This ceramic coating will essentially be there for the rest of the life of my vehicle. And it was an awesome experience. Thank you to Ivan and his wife Sylvie. Great team, by the way, great people. I really enjoyed, of course, their company and their presence. They were some that supported me right from the beginnings of my channel when I had like, what, 30,000 subscribers. And so here I am today, and this is the long-term relationships that I love to build with people that I enjoy hanging out with, and it's always nice to learn a bunch of cool things. By the way, if you learned a thing or two in this video, smash the thumbs up button to show me your support. Also, if you want to check out the products, I'll make sure to include the links in the description under the video for you guys to check them out. Also, the Pan the Organizer merch, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and hoodies, a bunch of different designs. This one here is the cartoon of me holding a polisher and a microfiber towel, and a bunch of different colors are also available. Again, I'll include the link to my merch store in the description under the video. This is a way, if you guys want to support me and see me reinvest and continue to grow my channel, well, that's an awesome way to do it. You guys have been rocking the merch. The packages have been sent all over the world until now because we ship pretty much worldwide. So check that out. And if you haven't done so yet, of course, make sure you click the subscribe button that's found under this video. And that way you'll subscribe to my channel and never miss my future videos to continue learning about car detailing. So products, equipment, tips, tricks, and techniques. And of course, guys, as usual, thanks for being there. Thanks for watching. And in the meantime, don't forget, keep it tight, keep it clean, and I'll see you on the next one.
Lucy.